Hélène, perfect. I'm Stan Coignard. We are about to introduce the next station. And
Hi, guys.
Joining us, perfect. So we'll start slowly. The previous station has just started. So we are going to give people a few minutes to join. And today we are going to talk about unicorns. Do they exist or not? We are about to find out. We can trust they do. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Stan. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, Faisal. Hello, Hélène.
Hello, everyone.
I was just on the other table, just making sure that everybody was leaving the table over there to come over here on this session. So thank you for waiting on me.
No problem.
This is a very exciting table. Faisal Majid, you're head of Innovative Technologies and Services for Bpifriends. Hélène Barral, your Export Development Advisor, USA and Canada for the BPI, which is the Public Bank of Investments of France. And Stan Coignard, America's CEO for S4M and Community Lead for La French Tech Miami. Stan, we have a great French Tech in Miami. It's part of La French Tech network to support French Tech entrepreneurs across the globe. You're the community lead in Miami. Can you tell us a little bit more about how fast it is growing the community and the network?
Well, first, we are benefiting from a momentum. So the French Tech Miami community is actually pretty young. We are only.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think we've lost your signal. Oh, perfect. We have your signal now back. Yeah. We couldn't see you, but we could hear you.
I was saying the French Tech Miami community is young, 18 months old, and we started during the pandemic, so you can tell about the resilience of French entrepreneurs. But as of today, we have over 150 members, and I like to say that French Tech Miami is also part of a larger network of 63 chapters, as Clara Chapas stated earlier in her video. Yes, that's the very true representation of the startup nation, willing to support entrepreneurs everywhere in the world.
Thank you, fantastic. And 25 unicorns by 2025. That's a wonderful challenge.
In the past 4 years alone, France created 17. So it's really accelerating, and we should overachieve the target of 25 unicorns. You may have heard of Dataiku, SoRare, Content Square, Miracle, Mano, Ledger, Crypto, BlaBlaCar, Doctolib. I mean, all those companies are tremendous successes. So I think it's very interesting and important to highlight it.
Fantastic.
If you may, Mark, I have a couple of questions for our guests, Hélène and Faisal. First, Hélène and Faisal, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
And I'd like to start by asking you to define really how, what is BPI and Business France role in this winning combination between the French Tech, Business France, and BPI. Hélène, can we start with you?
Yeah, of course. First, thank you very much for inviting me, and for I'm so honored to represent BPI France today. So here in the US, I'm kind of the ambassador for BPI France abroad. So I'm working on both the United States and Canada. So my core mission is to support with financial incentives French company exports their businesses abroad, or even expand their businesses when they're already based in the US. So just to give a bit of a context about BPI France. So BPI France have two equal shareholders, which are the French states and the deposits funds, and we Bpifriends finances French businesses from the seed phase to transfer to stock exchange listing through loans, guarantees, and equity. So basically, we have a wide area of financial incentives, just as a traditional bank, but we are willing, because we are backed with public funds, we are willing to take more risk and to support more companies in the early stages. So we accompany firms developing export activities, and we provide support for their innovation projects. For example, just to give you a couple of example, as of today, Bpifriends finances over 85,000 companies and is the innovation agency for French entrepreneurs, with more than 1.3 billion euros of innovation soft loans distributed to over 6,000 companies every year.
Wow, that's really really impressive, and in such a short time,
Yes.
it's really impressive. And I need to add that S4M, my company, is actually lucky enough to have BPI as an investor and an investment partner, and we are part of the French Tech 120, which is a program that helps companies like ours. And actually, Faisal, can you continue and be more specific about Bpifriends and how Bpifriends support entrepreneurs everywhere in the world?
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot, Stan. Thanks a lot, Mark. And thank you for having me. So I'm working with Bpifriends. I'm the head of Innovative Technologies and Services Department. So what's Bpifriends? We are a public agency. We are the national agency supporting the international development of French economy. So we foster export growth for the French businesses. We facilitate incoming investments in France and runs the VIEW program. We rely on a team of 1,500 employees worldwide. And we work closely with a network of business-centric partners in both the public and private sectors. And as far as the North American branch is comprised, we have 8 offices all around the US and Canada. And we are more than 100 employees here in North America to really support French entrepreneurs from a very early stage till scale-ups. For example, you have talked about Miracle. For example, I can talk about S4M also. You guys, these companies are all our alumni. They've been part of our programs, for example. And we do support more than, for example, just this year, despite the pandemic, we did serve 1,300 companies, Bpifriends in North America. And usually this number is around 1,800 companies per year. And we do also, for example, support these companies on collective and fairs like CES, NRF, GDC, and NAPSHO. So Bpifriends offers different kind of offers, different stages, and different state of maturity. For example, we have different offers for early stage entrepreneurs. We have offers, and we do support scale-ups. We do support mature companies. So we do work very closely with La French Tech in all the cities here in North America. With BP, which is our partner, we do share a lot of common interests with them. And our goal as a public agency is to really be part of that success of La French Tech all around the world. And we're very proud, for example, to have almost 5 to 10 unicorns that we have just mentioned earlier that are our alumni, for example, on our acceleration program here in the US, thanks to Impact
And
USA notably.
And a question for both
Yeah.
of you, but how does it, I mean, what does it take to be eligible to such program?
I will
What's
go
the
maybe for
typical path for an entrepreneur to really get to the point where you get the attention of BPI and you are part of the Bpifriends programs?
I can go, or Helen might go. Ladies first.
Just to add a point about what Faisal said, of course, we are also working very closely with Bpifriends and the La French Tech Network, because Bpifriends, just as Bpifriends, we are part of what we call Team France Export, which is like the major actors for supporting French companies abroad. And we are also supporting French tech companies through training days, networking, acceleration programs, and those types of program which are not specifically financial incentives. We would do it collaborating with other French actors, for example, Bpifriends. So maybe to answer the second question, Bpifriends accompanies and supports tech companies from a very early stage, and it can be, for example, we have what we call Bpifriends University. So we will help entrepreneurs transforming their idea. Then we can help them exploring the feasibility of their project. Then we can reinforce their capital. For example, we can offer them seed loans, or we can take a share in their companies through direct or partner funds. And then we can help them financing the development of their project, either in France or abroad. And for example, it can be innovation loans, it can be bank loan guarantees. So we will help back them and help them getting a very interesting loans with their traditional banks.
Okay, so as far the eligibility part is concerned for Bpifriends, we do work with all the French companies. For example, you just have to be in France, be a French company to
Yes.
be part of our network of Bpifriends. Obviously, that eligibility concerns different programs. For example, if you're a great company like a startup, you can be part of our acceleration programs. But if you really want to work with Bpifriends and prospect the market, do some studies and all this stuff, you can be eligible. We don't have any criteria. You just have to be French and based in France and create jobs in France to be part of that. Therefore, for example, an American company who has a subsidiary in France and who has created jobs could be part of our programs, for example, because they're based in France and they can be enjoying all the benefits from whatever the government has set up, for example.
Interesting, very interesting. Hélène, we also discussed about the financial support and the insurance BPI can offer to entrepreneurs along their journey. And we know last year has been really tough on a lot of people. Can you be more specific about the insurance part to secure an entrepreneur's journey?
Yes, of course. So as I said earlier, we have different financial incentives depending on the needs and depending on the stage and maturity of the project. So we have a large array of financial incentives, and it really depends on what the company needs. So if they need a loan, if they need, and we can also, of course, give them insurance. So, for example, if you wanna open a subsidiary in the US, we are gonna insure half of the fund the company is investing in order to open their subsidiary in the US. So this is like one of the major incentive we have for North America. So we will insure half of the fund you put in your company in order to open a new subsidiary abroad.
And that's how at the end of the day, most of those startups we were talking about succeeded in their scale up, reaching the US market. Talking about the US market, Faisal, do you have? Can you share your thoughts about what you see right now? What are the trends for startups and especially French tech startups in the US amid the pandemic, or now that we are weathering the storm?
Yeah, what we see currently is that we have a lot of demands from startups in France who are interested not only by apprehending the market, but really to test the traction. Because we have to be really clear on that. The French tech ecosystem is really mature now in France. And a lot of people, for example, in France, already know what is it to be really successful in the US. So they prepare themselves in France directly, because they have a lot of executives who have experience in the US and are now joining the French tech scene in Paris to help these companies to scale. So what we see a lot of fintechs, a lot of, for example, insurtech companies, even if the regulatory system is a little bit different, but they're much and more interested to talk with insurers, with bank, with financial services, in order to see how they could adapt their solution to come and to penetrate this market. But we do also have the trends about AI, about the retail tech, for example. We do have a lot of retail tech companies because we have a great retail tech scene in France. You have Safarm is there, Content Square, Miracle, all these great companies are really leaders in their market in Europe. So therefore, their positioning here in US is valid because a lot of the US companies want to work with them. So these are the trends that we see currently: cybersecurity, AI, where France is really, really great in deep tech. And we can see, for example, all the um, ads and the plans that have been, for example, voted by the government. For example, we can talk about the 4 billion support plan for startups that Cedric O announced just to as a response, to the unprecedented health crisis that affected France and the economic consequences on our companies that are still vulnerable, all the startups or the SMEs during this pandemic. So the trends are really, I think, as far as Business France and all the demands that we receive from scale-ups, startups, and early-stage companies, what they really want to know is not, despite the market studies and the fact that they have to be ready, that the fact to have some US knowledge, because it's really competitive here, is the traction. They just want to see how my solution is going to be received and the interest that I will have from the local actors. That's the demand. And the trends are quite retail tech, cyber tech, AI and deep tech, and financial services also.
Well, thank you for sharing. I forgot to say that, of course, if the audience has a question for our guest, you can use the chat on the right-hand side. Now is a good time. If there is no question, yes, of course, Hélène, I was about to propose to you to continue.
Yes, just because Faisal was talking about retail tech, so I am kind of covering all of the US and Canada, but of course, depending on the city and depending of if it's the East Coast or the West Coast, every city and every region has its own ecosystem. So, for example, I'm based in New York, and New York, of course, is a very attractive city for retail tech. And just about yesterday, we were doing a workshop with the French Minister of Trade and attractivity, and we were talking about the last trends on retail and the opportunities for French retailers, and especially in the tech retail sector. And for example, Bpifriends is a shareholder investing in two of the new unicorns in the retail tech sector, which are Vestiaire Collective and Bpifriends. So maybe I can add just another point, is that Bpifriends is also taking shares in the high potential tech companies. So, for example, through our large venture fund, we are having shares in, I think, 6 or 7 French unicorns.
So what do you mean that not only BPI is supporting entrepreneurs, but they're also investing in order to get a strong ROI? Like any other VC, and it's working. So
yes,
we have
exactly.
This virtuous circle to continue and remain in the game.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's the whole point. That was the whole point of the large venture fund that Bpifriends created in, I think, 2017, and this fund was dedicated to French tech companies or French companies with a high potential.
No, absolutely. It's BPI is not only a non-for-profit. It can make profit, and it's part of the game as a business partner. And it's always interesting to see that it's evolving that way for the better. Mark, you wanted to share with us the question we have?
Sure, yes. We have a question from Chris. What obstacles, if any, have you encountered in looking for qualified talent for your teams? Thank you for submitting that question.
Yeah, thanks. I will just go for that. We do work with a lot of companies, and one of the main questions is talent, because a lot of French companies who came here, they really don't know the market and they don't have the network to scale their businesses. So therefore, recruiting or hiring VP sales, VP marketing is paramount for them. And the obstacle is that the culture. For example, a lot of French companies who have hired an American to really run the business, they can have some cultural clash, and sometimes it really doesn't end well. But therefore, the CEO of that French company has to come here in the US to really implement the policy and the culture that he really wants to have in his team here in the US. We really encourage CEOs of French companies to not just do flying business, because it can work for 1 month or 2 months. But in order to scale in the US, in order to run an operation from the US, you have to be located in the US. Therefore, you have to have the sales and marketing team here in the US, hire people. So that's an obstacle. That culture differences, and the fact that, for example, we obviously, I'm very transparent, we French people are not as good and as efficient as American as far as the marketing and the sales side is concerned. So therefore, that can be the kind of obstacle, that cultural aspect of things when you hire people.
No, I concur, and Americans are amazing talents, especially when it comes to selling themselves. So you also need to adopt the right methodology and process to make sure that you are picking the right candidate. On the pros side, of course, you can let go someone in a much more flexible way than you do in France, for instance. But on the con side, you don't want to do that too often, because you're going to damage your employer brand first, and then you are going to lose so much time that at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. So the right way to approach this is to ask for as many referrals as you can, and just ask the question: who can refer your talent for our company, and you will quickly realize if the candidate is sharing a C-level contact or not, if that person can be reached, what would be the first words about the candidate, and it will give you a better approach than nothing. And then to complete what Faisal just said, I think there is a way to let go about our old habits from France. For instance, you should focus more on KPIs and productivity than on working hours, for instance, because
I agree.
Americans have a very different way
Totally.
to approach work and working hours. It doesn't matter how much hours you put in the work if the job is done. So on your hand, what you need to achieve, you need a perfect job desk with a very detailed task. You need KPIs to monitor the productivity, and then you can manage your talent the proper way, I think.
Yep, that's true. And just to complete, we know that America is a huge opportunity for everyone, right? For French tech startups, officially. But we know that scaling this universe or this market can be very tough. So therefore, we do have a program that we call Impact USA, where we help companies, and our alumni are really, really great, like ABTST, S4M, Bpifriends, Miracle, Datadome. All these companies have joined that program to really establish themselves. Maybe a little bit, we did play a little bit of part in their success, we hope, in their setup here in the US. But if I have a message to all the Americans that are listening to us, is that join the French tech revolution, guys. I think that's the greatest moment for you guys to go and to help these French tech companies to scale. And we do have this scene in Paris, and you can really help French tech companies to scale, because you have the skills, the marketing, the sales skills, the product management skills. So I think if you really want to have a nice challenge, I think a French tech scale up would be the next step for you guys to really have a challenge in your life and help that French company going abroad.
On the plus side, you get to travel to Paris and visit Paris
Have a nice wine and cheese.
with a Parisian. It's always nice. So, yeah. Do we have other questions in the audience?
We don't have so far any other questions, or let me look at the Q&A actually. We do have 2 questions. From Sarah. Bonjour, hello. I'm a young company in Paris and I try to get some help for start a filiale. So that would be a subsidiary.
Yes.
How can we get your contact?
LinkedIn, yeah. You can go
Yes.
LinkedIn and talk to us. We do work, as I said, with a lot of public and private partners. We can help you listen to your strategy, challenge it a little bit, give
Yes.
you tips, and why not help with BP in Business France, assurance prospection, and all this stuff, so you can have the greatest package to start your business abroad.
Yes, we really do try to work hand by hand with the business friends, and of course, you can just check the BPI France and the business friends website. But I think the more direct way would be to just check our profiles on LinkedIn, send us a quick message, and we'll do our best to answer and to help you if we can.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I
would add
will.
that.
I just wanted to
Sorry.
add something. There's the tab people. You can look for everyone that is in the session, either viewing or as a speaker, like Hélène, Faisal, and Stan. You have all the detail on all the different business cards, virtual business cards that are on the People's tab.
Absolutely, and I was about to add, you can also get in touch with French Tech, the chapter in the city you are based, because the connection between cities is real. I get requests, and we request from other cities. For the US, we have the French Tech America that works as a whole with 9 chapters, I think. But we work very closely with Station F through French Tech in Paris. So it's a network. So let's benefit from it. It's quite powerful, and I think it's pretty unique in the world. So yeah.
I think we have time just for one more question. I see in the general chat of this session with Stacy.
Okay.
Stacy wants to set up a fashion incubator that will allow designers to start up and protect their designs as well as get access to funding. How can she move forward in France as a US-based company?
So we can help her. As I said, Business France has the invest branch and the export branch. I'm part of the export branch. I will put her in touch. Stacy, please do not hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn. I will put you in touch with my colleagues who are in charge of attracting companies to France, and she can help you with a lot of details and also talk about funding, which region, and all this stuff. So you will have all the answers thanks to our colleague who's in charge of the invest.
Fabulous.
No worries at all.
Thank
And
you.
we have a specific visa for Americans who wants to travel to Paris for more than a week. It's pretty flexible and it's very attractive. So make sure that you ask for it, because it could be interesting as a project in life.
Thank you very much, Stan. That's all the time we have for this this session. Just before we finish, just want to remind you that you can indeed find everyone that was in the session, either as a speaker or viewer, in the People's tab. That's right next to chat on the right-hand side of the screen. To get to the next session, you will leave the session in the top right corner of the viewing screen, and then click on Sessions and click on the new roundtable or new session that you will see that has populated there. And in the between, you can network and visit our sponsors and partners in the expo area, in the expo booths, virtual expo booth. You can meet with them, meet and greet, and network at your leisure.
Thank you so
Thanks a
much,
lot, Mark.
all.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yes. Have a great
Bye-bye.
one, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so
Bye.
much.